All right. All right. So I decided to go live in this group because I haven't been live in a while, right? But I wanted to talk about expectations. Let's talk about it. But anyway, before I get started, everybody knows who I am. I am Shakita. With Shakita me, no secrets, right? But yeah, expectations. I bet a lot of you guys have a lot of expectations on a lot of people. I mean, if you're married, have children, we expect a lot from them, right? And they expect a lot from us. But I'm here to tell you on today, you should take those expectations off. I know everybody have their thoughts about expectations, but I've learned just over the last couple of months about not having expectations on people, which it frees you just as much as it frees that person. And so it's really good not to set expectations on people and allow them to set their own expectations for themselves. Because I have my own expectations for myself, and same with friends, family. They should have their own expectations of themselves as well. But a lot of times, people put expectations on one another, friendships, any type of relationship, we set expectations for that other person, and we expect them to do certain things that we want them to do. But the interesting thing is that, we never communicated it. We just assumed that they know. So I just want to help you out just a little bit on tonight about expectations, right? Don't set them on people. If you want to have expectations, have them for yourself. And just even in relationships, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, friendships, or whatever. Thing is, if it's something that, you want from your partner or whomever it is, what's the best thing to do? The number one thing to do is ask. And that's what we fail to do, is to ask. We fail to ask the person before we just go on expecting them, they should know. And a lot of times, if you don't have that conversation, they don't know. If you never have the conversation, they will not never know. And the thing is that even in expectations, if I say, for instance, that let's use something simple as, washing the dishes, for instance. If I say, okay, I'll wash the dishes, and saying I didn't get to it, right? But then, my partner or friend or whomever comes to me and says, I thought you was going to wash the dishes. Yes, I said I was going to wash the dishes, but I'm not going to get to it right now. Okay, now, in the event that, I didn't wash this, the other person can get upset, right? Okay, but even in that, yes, you would expect me to have washed it just because I said so, right? So that would be a different expectation. But even in that, don't get upset. If you have to have it done right away, then the normal thing to do is just do it, right? Because at that point it's satisfying you. Because no matter whether I did the dishes or not, you're the one that's going to be upset. I'm not upset about it, but you're upset. Why? Because I said I was going to do it, but there's no need to get upset about that. I mean, we're talking about dishes, right? They're dishes. And if it's such a big deal about the dishes being done, just go do it, right? No need to get upset. There's no need for that. Or, even in the events, okay, you know what, I'll get to them later, or I might get them tomorrow, whatever, they're just dishes, right? They're just dishes. There's no need to get upset about, like I said, spilled milk or dirty dishes, right? But yeah, so the thing is, I've learned that when I take the limits of expectations off of people, I get genuine love. I call it genuine love because the thing is, say for instance, like I heard of a situation of someone being sick, and they had a group of friends. They were sick, they couldn't take care of the family, and those friends came together and they prepared meals for the family every day, or how many times a day they ate, right? And see, as a friend, that's genuine love. It wasn't expected. Hey, she didn't even have to ask. They just did it. Because that's what friends do automatically. It's not that you expect it, but because of the love of that individual, you do it. Because I love you, I want to do this, and I know you can't get to it. I know your family, you cook for your family and the whole 9 yards. So, we're gonna come together and we're gonna take care of it for you, right? So that's just genuine love. That's what you call unconditional love, and there's no expectations. I mean, I'm not expecting you to do anything. And see, I think that's what happens in a lot of relationships is that we have all these expectations on one another, and then we wonder why relationships are failed because we never communicated. We never had the conversation. So, to avoid, breakups, because I feel that, perhaps maybe, me and my ex-husband, before we became an ex, we probably communicated the things that, we wanted and what we, communicated the things, say for instance for myself, communicate the things that I would do and that I was not willing to do, and even in the things that I'm not willing to do, just ask me, okay, I know you don't like doing such and such sport. Let me give you a prime example of that. I don't do sports, and and you don't want me to watch sports, and I'm not a sports person because it's boring to me. I mean, sports are just simply boring to me. And so, if I said no, I didn't want to watch it, he would get upset. And it, it's almost like, why get upset because of something that I don't like? I mean, because you have put this expectation on me because I'm married to you that I'm supposed to do it. No. Even though we're married, we're one, we still are individuals, and we still can think for ourselves. A lot of times we do have to come together to make decisions and things of that nature, but, I still have free reign of my own thoughts. So I think it's important that, that you give that person that respect. Let them think for themselves. I know it sometimes, you can be talking and, you might say each other's words or something like that, before they say it, or, which is really cute. But at the same time, I'm still yet an individual, and it's still a level of respect. And if it's something that you want, you ask. Same thing with me. If it's something that I want, I ask. But see, the thing is, even on my side of things, my problem was that I felt like, okay, yeah, you're supposed to know this already. But 9 times out of 10, sometimes they don't know. Sometimes the other person do not know. They just simply don't know. So it's not their fault. And if I get upset, that's my problem. That's my problem. It's something that I need to deal with. I have to work through that. And because at the end of the day, that person will go on with their business, whether I'm upset or not. But I'm upset with them for no reason, when I should be upset with myself because I set the expectation on them that they are not aware of. And it happens a lot. And I understand, people say, well, you have to set expectations. It depends on what it is. Now, I understand, working on a job, when you get hired, they tell you what your job duties are, and that's what you're supposed to do. So, of course, you're expected to do that, right? So there's a difference. So, but at the same time, you know, if you go on that job and you do whatever you want to do and not do what you stated in the initial interview of the hiring process that you said that you were going to do, then you have a problem. So if you get fired, I mean, guess who's to blame? You. So, because you said that you was going to do something pertaining to that job and follow their instructions and their rules and their guidelines and all that, and you chose not to, so guess what? You get fired, right? So, you know, there's rules and regulations when it comes to certain things. So, and the things, but again, I don't per se really care for the word expectations now that I've learned, you know, about expectations, and you know, and more or less it's almost like a matter of having respect for the next individual, you know, and asking the question. Or, you know, in the beginning of relationships, you know, you can have that conversation and, you know, you can tell a person, you know, well, I like this and I don't like that, and, you know, it gives the person the opportunity to say, you know what, do I want to go further? Do I want to move forward in this relationship or not? Because this person just seems to not be that match for me, you know, because they don't like this and they don't like that, or, you know. So, you know, if those things are, you know, brought up in the beginning of any type of relationship, it would be friends, you know. And that's another thing, you know, with friend relationships, you know, I don't per se like when a friend expects me to do the things that they want me to do, and they get upset because, you know, I speak my mind, I speak and say what I am not going to do, what I'm not willing to do, and I say what I want to. But, you know, if we're friends, and then it goes back to expectations, you know, because, again, friends are friends, you know. I feel like, you know, if you're my friend, I can say what I want, you know, especially if you say we're best friends, right? If we're best friends, I think, you know, we should be able to talk about just about anything. But in the event that if I can't have free range to talk about what I want to talk about, then there's a question mark on the friendship. Because I don't, you know, unless it's negativity, I just really can't bear to hear a lot of negativity. And I know there's, you know, I know that sometimes some things negative can be turned into positive things, but for me to just listen to a bunch of negativism, I just don't want to put any energy into that. So yeah, I will cut a person off when they're like, you know, just going through this whole negative phase. And one of the reasons being is because, you know, I used to be that negative person, and it can become very annoying. Every conversation you have, it's not a positive conversation. It's just always negative. And then having to live with a person that was negative, and it's just hard, you know, even having friends that's negative. So I'm not saying that I've always been, like I said, I've never always been this positive person, but at the same time, you know, when you grow from certain things, you just really don't want to hear it. I mean, so things, you know, you don't want to put too much energy into negativism. But again, you know, I just want to go here and talk about expectations, and I really hope that, you know, this opens up for you about having expectations. And let me just give you like a little story here, because, you know, I had expectations on my children, and mind you, they're adults. I have 3 adult children, and I would tell them, well, I haven't heard from you. Why you ain't called me? I'm your mama. You're supposed to call me. Really? No, they're not. Everybody have their own life, right? So if I really want to speak to them, if I want to talk to them, all I had to do is pick up the phone and call. Because, you know, my son even said, well, you can pick up the phone and call me. True. But, you know, and I used to get upset about it. I'm like, okay, did you just tell me, you know, I can just pick up the phone and call you? Really? You know, so I used to get upset about it. But then, like I said, over the last couple of months, I learned about expectations. Now that, I don't expect them to call me, I don't expect them to do anything for me. But when they do it, and I don't ask, I really, truly love it, because at that point, it's genuine and it's not forced. Because a lot of times, when we expect people to do things and when they do it, it's actually forced, because they're only doing it because they don't want to hear the nagging or the bickering or, to avoid an argument. I know myself, I used to do it all the time, just so I would not have to have that argument. I would just do it, even though I didn't want to, but just to avoid an argument, I would just do it. So really, expectations can really, really, truly backfire on you. But when you learn about expectations and actually know how to, communicate what it is that you want, relationships will be great. They'll be great. And sometimes, if a person can't accept, who you are and how you do things, then maybe that person's not supposed to be in your life. Sometimes you gotta just let them go. I have to do it, because I'm not going to allow anyone to put me in a box. I'm not going to let no one have that kind of power over my life anymore, because I lived that life for like 12 years. So 12 years or more, of trying to, exceed everybody's expectations but my own. But guess who was miserable? I was. They're moving on with their life. They're getting what they want. But here I am, miserable. So don't live in nobody's box. Don't live in nobody's bubble. Be you. Be your authentic self and do you. That's what I say. And don't put the expectations on people, and don't allow people to put expectations on you, right? So go live your life. Be free. Walk in whatever it is that you want to walk in. Newness. I say I'm walking in my newness. So, but anyway, just wanted to get on here and talk about expectations. I know that there's nobody on here right now watching this video, but however, if you are watching this video on the replay, #replay, let me know where you're from and give me your feedback. I'm Shakika with Shakika Me No Secrets. Have a beautiful night.